So also last week, I got to do my first Zine Fest in a very long time. It's a little one called Tiny Paper Zine Fest uh, in Gahanna, Ohio, which is only 10, 15 minutes away from me. So it was a very easy little pop over to do. What did I do with that costume? Pixie cut, that's right. And I'll be honest, I normally don't do very well at Zine Fest. I don't know why. I think when I was in New England, well, one of my theories is the weirder your stuff is, the better it tends to do at Zine Fest. Like that's sort of there's a real punk DIY aesthetic, and if your stuff is not particularly punk or DIY or covering uh, topics that are outside of the norm, it's sometimes hard to find your audience there. But in this case, I did substantially better than I've done a couple cons this year that were much bigger, and I only was working for 4 hours and it cost me $10. I actually made table and then some 11 minutes into the show, which is unheard of. Normally, you don't sell in the first hour, at least I don't. Um, it's extremely rare for me to have that much success that early on. Come on. Thank you. And here, just right off the bat, I had a sale and I had a lot of really cool interactions with people. It was, it's gonna, it's a con I'm definitely gonna do again. I'm hoping they do it again. This was their first year. The people running it, the Heart Room, were really cool. It's one of the most New England places I've been to since coming to Ohio because it's delightful. It's a little bit weird, and I love weird. Like that's it's I haven't had nearly as much weird lately as I would like. What did I do for this guy's outfit? Cross up on top. I'm having to be careful not going too detailed because the art style I use for letters is slightly more intricate than what I do for CosPain. So I'm having to concentrate and not over detail the muscles and stuff like that. How did I do the hair? So short up front, flip out in the back, and the big thing on the head that goes down. That'll be perfect. You should be drawing some sweat. Oh, that mouth's wrong. But yeah, one of the things I realized regarding why I've been having trouble at Zine Fest in the past, haven't really had the opportunity to do many since I've come to Ohio. They're not nearly as prevalent as they are in Vermont, where there are honestly across New England there are tons of Zine Fest, and you come to Columbus, which is a densely populated city compared to whatever you've got in Vermont. Like I looked it up at one point, as I recall, the city of Columbus is more populated than the state of Vermont. It's kind of crazy. Um, but for all that, there's not a big Zine Fest community. So I realized part of the advantage is uh, scarcity gave me a bit of an edge. Is that head too small? No, but it's too narrow. I'm going to redraw it. There we go. Sweat drop. Oh, looks like zits. Fix that. Sweat drops. Have you holding your prop in front of you? How's that? That'll mean I get to do a little bit less drawing. And at the moment, considering I was doing more letters inks earlier today, feeling a tad lazy. What did that hammer end up looking like? Cool. That'll work. What type of wig did I do? Generic protagonist, Spiky. I was thinking a little bit of Tales of Berseria with these character designs, which is one of the series I tend to dip into a lot for this kind of thing. It's a very good JRPG, highly recommended. And I have friends who cosplay from it quite a bit. Now, with this guy, I was thinking a little bit of Rokuro. He's got a thing on his arm. Cool. He's got, come on, thank you. The vest, shirt underneath. Then the hammer pants. It's going to be all we need there. I'm going to actually put you in front because that's how you were before. Cool. Save. This next one is going to be a little bit easier. In addition to everything else that's been going on, this past weekend, I got to, not this past weekend, weekend before that, I got to go to a convention that I've only been to for fun, and I was an attendee here again. But next year, I'm thinking about uh, getting myself a table, and it is Origins Game Fair. You can find them at www.originsgamefair.com. They're a big tabletop RPG and board game convention, and I like going to them because those are hobbies that I get to scratch the itch occasionally, but not as much as I'd like. Let's see. Is that close enough to the wig? No, that's the problem. It's more downturned. That's why it looked weird to me. That'll work. But yeah, I went there for the first time last year, and it was something I desperately needed back then because I had been I had a very hectic tabling schedule last year. Felt really really good to have a weekend where I went to a con and I had fun because I was not working that con. I did not have a stake in that particular fight. Oop, that was a mistake. Thank you. Man, this computer is very slow. It is getting rebooted tonight. I'm one of those people that does keep computers on longer than they should be. While I was at Origins, I did come across somebody who was doing something that had me very excited that I would in fact like to show you. There's this company called Van Ryder Games that has a graphic novel adventure series that are mysteries. I've talked before on this stream about how important mystery comics are to me, and I found someone who's doing them and doing them really well. These are basically choose your own adventure stories, and the way it works, it's Sherlock Holmes in this case, but when you are investigating something, here's a grisly murder scene, but you see there are numbers hidden in various places of what you can investigate. And there are panels that are numbered in here. So you jump through to the panel you want based on what you decide to do, and that controls how the story unfolds. And it's really, really clever. They're good at hiding details in there. I highly recommend you check this out. They are at vanrydergames.com. That's VANRYDER games.com. Highly recommend you check them out. I'd love to do work with them in the future. We'll see if that can end up happening. I do need to finish this sequel of letters before that can happen. Let's see. What did it make you look like? Right. And then the floppy hat. Cloak and spikes, as I recall. Let's double check that. And yeah, I was incredibly excited to see that this was a thing. I will fix that a little. And would very much like to help them with future endeavors. I'm going to shrink this character a little bit. Perfect. And now, because they are not going to actually change in this one, I will just copy and I will paste. Let's see. So I am currently through the first two mysteries in that book. The biggest tricky thing with them is that you kind of have to take notes while you're going. And there are certain aspects where they encourage you to notate things in the book, which I flat out refuse to do. I want to do this multiple times. I want to show it to other people. I'm even thinking about, after I'm done with it, donating to the library because I want people to see this kind of thing. So I've got it full of note cards that I've been leaving behind on pages to bookmark stuff and keep track of what decisions I've made. Turn a little bit more. We are almost done with this stage. I'm rushing a little bit, but it doesn't matter in pencils because I'm going to fix it later anyway. All right, I think that'll be good enough.